How to train your mind for unstoppable success. There is a battlefield that most people never walk onto, a place where wars are waged, not with swords or bombs, but with thoughts, choices, and unshakable will. It's not out there in the world, it's inside your own mind. You see, most people lose before they begin. They wake up and hand over their day to fear, to distraction, to doubt. They check their phones, compare their lives, complain about the weather, and wonder why they never feel powerful. The truth is simple. If you do not train your mind, the world will train it for you. And the world doesn't want you strong. The world wants you obedient, afraid, distracted, and average. Because if you rise, if you wake up to your own power, you become dangerous to the system that profits from your silence. So today is not about hacks or tricks. It's not about being slightly better or mildly improved. This is about reprogramming your operating system. It's about commanding your mind to obey your vision, not your emotion. Because success, real, lasting, legacy-level success, begins and ends with the mind. The man who built the Model T, Henry Ford, once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." It sounds simple, but it is everything. Belief is the foundation. Not belief in something vague or mystical, but belief that you are not a slave to circumstance. Belief that you are the architect, that you and only you decide what happens next. And belief alone is not enough. You must prove it, in silence, in darkness, in sweat. In the hours where nobody is watching, that's where the mind is forged. People ask how to stay motivated, but the question itself is weak, because motivation is not the answer. It's discipline, it's consistency, it's doing what must be done even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. 1,000 dark nights, 1,000 silent failures, and each time the world told him to quit. But Edison didn't train his mind to obey doubt. He trained it to respond with, "Not yet, but soon." And that's the mindset of the unstoppable. They see failure as feedback, not as a dead end, but a detour. They don't worship comfort. They don't need validation. They are fueled by vision. And what is vision? It is clarity. It is knowing exactly what you want and holding it so vividly in your imagination that reality has no choice but to catch up. Walt Disney was fired for lacking imagination. Oprah Winfrey was told she'd never make it on television. Steve Jobs was ousted from his own company. But their vision was louder than the world's noise. They didn't need agreement. They needed focus. Focus is the warrior's edge. It is the rarest commodity in today's world. And yet, it is the one thing that separates the dreamers from the doers. If you can control your attention, you can control your reality. Your mind is a garden. Whatever you plant grows. If you plant fear, you get paralysis. If you plant doubt, you get hesitation. But if you plant focus, discipline, gratitude, faith, then success becomes inevitable. Every morning, you must ask yourself, what am I allowing into my mental soil today? Are you scrolling or scripting your life? Are you consuming or creating? Are you reacting or designing? Because the world will offer you 100 distractions before breakfast. And most people accept them like candy, never realizing they're being robbed of their destiny in exchange for comfort. Comfort is the drug, discipline is the cure, and discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. It is proof that you believe your future deserves more than your laziness does. Muhammad Ali once said, "I hated every minute of training, but I said, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." That's the mind of the unstoppable. Train your mind to act without feeling. Train it to rise when the body screams no. Train it to speak life when the world speaks doubt. Because once your mind is forged in discipline, no outside force can break you. And yes, pain will come. Resistance will rise, but resistance is not your enemy. It is the signal that you are on the edge of growth. When you feel fear, when you feel resistance, lean in. That is your next level knocking. Most people retreat at that door. The successful walk through it, trembling but determined. Because they understand one truth: comfort is a liar, and growth lives in discomfort. Growth demands you leave behind who you were. It asks you to bury old habits, outdated beliefs, and expired excuses. It requires a death of the average version of you so the extraordinary one can rise. You cannot carry the past and still hold the future. So let it go. Whatever didn't serve you, release it. Whatever hurt you, forgive it. Whatever delayed you, thank it. It brought you here, but it cannot go with you where you're headed. You're not here to repeat. You're here to reinvent, to transform, to ascend. And that journey doesn't start in the gym or in the boardroom, it starts in the mind. Your thoughts become your patterns become your actions become your identity, and your identity becomes your destiny. So if you want a new life, you must train a new mind. And if you train your mind for greatness, greatness will follow like a shadow. And then something changes. Not out there, but in here. You wake up with intention, you walk with purpose, you act with conviction. Because now you've seen behind the curtain, you understand that the greatest enemy you will ever face is the untrained mind. And the greatest victory, to master it. This world is full of noise, full of urgency. But urgency without clarity is chaos. And chaos breeds burnout. That's why your clarity is everything. A trained mind doesn't chase, it attracts. It doesn't beg for approval, it breathes in purpose and breathes out results. When you live like that, on purpose, with discipline and vision, people will notice. They'll ask what changed. They'll say, "You're different now." And you'll smile. Not because you're better than them, but because you finally remembered who you were before the world taught you to forget. That's what this is. A remembering. You were born powerful, whole, worthy, with the capacity to shape worlds through your choices, your habits, your focus. But somewhere along the line, you were taught to settle, to doubt, to fear. No more. Now you rise, now you train, now you own your mind, so your life can finally follow. Because once the mind is mastered, there is nothing you cannot build, create, become, or achieve. So train your mind, and watch the world change in your favor.